readlines is a function in R that is used to read text files. At first, you may think this readlines is the same as this read line, but we are going to check with that. This readlines is for reading from text files, from organized, structured text files like CSV. And also you can read with this command from a website, web resource. You put, instead of the address of the text file, you put the URL and you get the text. So it's very useful. And the syntax we have for this is read lines. Pay attention to the capital state of L, and here you put the target, the thing that you want to read. Either it is a file or if it is a web resource. So you put it here, and after that, for this you specify if you want to read all of the text, that you put -1. If you put nothing, it still reads all the text. But if you want to, for example, read the first 5 lines, here you put 5, 6, 7, and like that. And here you see n number of lines to read. Okay, here you see the read lines that now we have in this slide with capital L, and it is read lines. But the one that is used for interactive input is read line, without capital L and without S here. So this one, as you just noticed, is for reading from a file URL, and this one to read a single line of input from the user. And the usage, as you can see here, for reading, but here for interactive. And the important point, what it returns to you, read lines, is a vector that has character type, and each line of the text would be one element of that vector. But this one returns a single character string. For example, it asks, what's your name? You put your name, so it is a single character string. But this one goes and create a vector and assign each line of the text as one element of the vector. Here in this address, we have several text files, and we want to read, let's go for text 7. Here is file 7 that you can, when you are doing the practice, you can choose any text file that you have at your disposal. So we are going to read this. Here we have the address of the file that I just showed you. As you can see, the address in quotation mark and double backslash for the address. And here read lines, the address that I created here. And here I'm telling read all of it. Here I'm asking to read 5 lines of it. Let's run the thing and see what happens. We have this. So it is what we get. As you can see, it is telling me I have 42 lines here with this 7.txt, and each line of that file becomes one element of this vector, this character vector that you see. And for this one, core 2, when I run it, as you can see, there are just 5 lines. Line 1, line 2, and it goes to line 5. And of course, when I asking for the structure of the thing, it would tell me they are character vectors. So this core 1. You see, character vector size 42. And now it's ready for any processing. You can apply any command that you have learned on this vector that we are going to get more familiar with this type of thing. Now that you are getting to know the functions that the output has the format of a vector, and many times we want to do some processing on the vector, so here you see an update on the function of paste. You already know about paste. Paste connect the strings that you are giving it with the separator that you assign to your function. Okay, but when you are giving the input of a vector to your paste, when you want to connect them, you need to specify how do you want the things to get connected, what you want the separator be here. For the case of vectors, you need to use collapse. So what does it mean when you put paste, and after that, when you put paste and as an input you put a vector? Okay, when you put paste them, you need to specify how do you want the elements of this vector get pasted together. And for that thing, you use the parameter of collapse. So here it's gonna paste them, and the delimiter would be underline, as you can see, 1 underline 2 3. Why we need this type of thing? Because when you, for example, read a text file and it gives you back a vector, that each element of the vector is each line of that text, many times you want to paste, you don't like that format, you want to paste all those elements together, so you paste them with collapse. For the collapse, you can use a space, you can use backslash, you can use anything. Just remember, when you are working with paste, collapse is necessary. But you may ask, what would happen if we don't put collapse parameter here? If you don't put anything here, paste does nothing on your vector. Let's go, I will show you with an R code. Here you see we have a vector of A, B, C. I get it printed for you, so you see it is the result. And here, XX, you see, paste V8 without any collapse. So what would be the result? You see, they are exactly the same. Even if I ask R if they are equal, R tells me, yes, they are equal. But see here, we are pasting with collapse of a space here, and the result would be this. You see, now we have one element, you see, one pair of quotation marks. And if we go for collapse of vacuum, nothing, so they would be this one. It's again a helpful method. Here we have the function of lapply, and lapply, this L means something like loop, because here x is a vector, and with lapply you apply this function to each element of this vector you have. The result of this function is always a list, no matter what is your input, because your input here, x, can be list or vector. But even if it is a vector, the output of this would be a list. And that's it about this function. The function that we have here would be applied to each element of this vector or list, and the result would be a collection of the results. Let's go and check it in the context of R. First, we create the function that we want to apply to each element of the vector or list. So it is our function. We are make each element a square. So for example, y2, the result would be 4. I create here the vector. So I want to apply this function to each element of this one at the same time. So for that I use lapply. And here L1 would be the result, so it's a list, and lapply V1. V1 is the input, is the vector, and Y is the function that I have created here. So here L1, when I get the results, you see the result that way. L1, 1, 3, as you can see here. A square of 3 is 9, a square of 5, 25, a square of 7, 49, and 89. After that, when I go for strv1, v1 is a vector, so it should be a character vector in the results when I see that. And numerical vector, because they are numbers. And here you see the size of 5, but when I go for list, it's a list. And here you see list of 5, numerical, all these things. List files is the last function we review in this video. It's a function that gets you the names of all the files and folders, directories, in the address that you have specified. And here I have put for you the syntax. As you can see here, it is the address, and here we have the command. So we expect when we run this command, we get all the contents of this address. Either they are files or folders. Why do we need this thing? For example, here, generating the path of all the files that you have in a folder. Because in that situation, for example, you have 20 files in a folder and you want to get the address of all of them. So you list them and you add their address to the folder address. So you get the file's address. Let me first show you how it works. Here we have the address. That is the address of a folder. Remember, you put the address of the folder, speeches, and former President George W. Bush. And here we want to get the list of that one. So when I run this, I get all the files over there. So you see there are 30 speeches over there, and I get all of them. And now When I have this, I can use them for batch processing.